Okay, super excited to be here with you, Rachael.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
First time at CoachCon? Of
Yes,
course.
Indeed. Well, it's everyone's first time.
It's the first one ever, and we're here.
Yeah.
And are you having fun?
Oh, it's the best time.
Isn't it?
The people here are so nice.
I know.
Everyone is willing
I
to
know.
have a conversation.
I know. It's off the hook.
Yeah.
No, so fun. Well, hey, we'll welcome our audience into this. Welcome to CoachCon, doing some live broadcasting here, a little podcasting. Super excited to be here with Rachael. I'm going to introduce her, or I'll let you introduce yourself in a moment. My name's Chad Johnson, and I came to coach about 20 years ago, 2004. I was 34 years old. Yes, it's hard to believe. Anyways, and Dan and this thinking and this community just changed my life. I mean, in every way. And so really, really grateful. And then about 9.5 years ago, I got to start coaching with Strategic Coach. And so I'm just one of the few that get to coach in either London, Chicago, LA, or Toronto, the 4 cities that we operate out of. And I couldn't be more honored to do that. And then last year, Dan bumped up to Free Zone, and I got the opportunity to take over some of his 10X workshops with some of the other coaches, which has just been mind-blowing and extremely rewarding. So I am, again, here to interview you, Rachael. And Rachael, you're here with FinTech, one of our awesome sponsors. But I want to hear a little bit about Rachael, and then I'm going to ask you about FinTech. So Rachael, talk to me. Who are you? What are you about? Give me your little elevator pitch.
Yeah, so my name is Rachael Lundeen. I am the operator and integrator for FinElevate, which is one of the sponsors here. So this is actually my first experience with Strategic Coach. I've heard about it,
Sure.
but I haven't experienced it
Sure.
before, and I feel really lucky to be able to be here as a sponsor.
Well, super glad to have you here. And I know Colin,
Yeah.
who's your visionary
Yep.
and CEO, and had the opportunity to work with him along the way some, so I'm really honored to meet you. I always know that visionaries that are having any kind of business success have somebody behind them. I mean, there's an integrator, and those that don't know EOS language, it's really that COO, but even more role, right? Dynamic relationship with a visionary, and you're that who for him.
It's so important to have that combination too, because no one is perfect at everything, and so you just have to acknowledge that about yourself.
That's it.
And so you can find someone who is the perfect fit for your weaknesses or their strengths, and when you find that match, it goes really far.
It's so beautiful, and it is so life-giving, not only to the individual, right? Both, like you said, but to the business. It really is. It starts to, it's so fun to see the pressure release valve go off for the rest of the team when they start to see a visionary operate in their true strengths and an integrator come in and say, hey, I've got this, and take over that leadership management and accountability stuff. You love that stuff.
Oh, I do.
That's your jam.
Yes, my favorite actually is the team leadership.
Yeah.
And
So you run the level 10s and all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do like job scorecards and core values, and building that culture is my favorite part.
All right. And how long have you been doing this?
Well, so I've been with FinElevate for a little over a year now.
Oh, awesome. Well, what a gift. Excited for you, excited for Colin. Now, tell us a little bit, FinElevate.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing there?
We are a fractional CFO service for entrepreneurs. Yes, we are the numbers people. We like to say that we're the financial who for business, because a lot of entrepreneurs, right, they like to spend their time building their product or doing the sales and marketing. That's really their genius area. And the finances are something that has to get done, but not necessarily a place that they want to live in. And so that's why you need to bring in a financial who to help really move your company forward.
There's so few entrepreneurs that are actually really great at the financial. I mean, they can do it. There's some that do it with superior skill. I would say almost never do I find it to be someone's unique ability. That's literally the area they want to spend their time. They're passionate about it. They have never-ending energy from it. So you guys help marry or partner up, find fractional CFOs for these entrepreneurial organizations.
Actually, so our whole team is available as that kind of fractional CFO.
Oh, really? So you aren't sourcing talent. You guys are the talent.
Yes.
And so you come in as an organization and take that role.
Yeah, so we have people at different levels within our organization, so you get access to a whole bunch of, a team of financial professionals.
Now tell me this, there's big fractions and small fractions. I remember that from math. That was the only math I remembered at school, right? Small fraction, big fraction. So, I mean, when you say fractional CFO, 7/8 CFO is different than 1/8 CFO. And you guys, does it matter? I mean, can you scale with somebody pretty robustly?
Yeah.
Or at what point, I would ask you, does it not make sense? Have you found that threshold?
Yeah, so on the one side, if you're really small and you're just getting started, you have to be able to be at a place where you can justify bringing in someone.
Yeah.
We like to focus on companies in like the $1 to $20 million range,
Okay.
because that's
Yep.
where they have enough of a need that they might not have that skill set available to them, but it's not enough where they need to bring on a full-time person.
Makes absolute sense. It's interesting, in my own growth of businesses, I totally relate with that, right? You always start by kind of like doing it on your own because you kind of have to.
Yes.
And then as quickly as you can, you get a little bookkeeper to just kind of, it's a bookkeeper, do something. And then you're like, oh, I need some accounting help. I need to actually get a little general ledger going and run some books. And then, you know, and often that fractional capability in that space is really, really powerful. But making the jump to a controller, CFO, or fully robust accounting team it requires a lot. And so what a gift to be able to, you know.
And we really love spending time in the business strategy side of finances.
Which is what CFO is about, right?
Yeah.
It's not the mundane
Right.
ARAP and doing the stuff. It's
Yeah.
literally taking business data then and saying, hey, here's how you navigate better with it.
And training your team so it's not all on you. Like, your leadership team should understand the business from a financial standpoint. Think like an owner and understand how the business makes money.
You guys come in and help do that?
Yes.
Really? So that's very entrepreneurial, right? Because again, when you get maybe line personnel to start speaking finance and understand kind of maybe Jack Stack's open book of business, like let's look at all the numbers and let's have it make sense. You guys, that's a part of what you do.
Yeah, and that's a journey, right? So
Yeah.
if you're at a point where you're not sharing the finances with your team, like, you don't go from there to all of a sudden, like, here's
Here
the
you go.
P&L and the balance sheet.
Course.
No.
Right. Freak everybody out. They'd run for the door.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Or they'd be like, you're making that much
That's
money, why
right.
am I not getting paid more?
That's right.
So we have steps along that
Yeah.
journey that we
Yeah.
can do, and so you can manipulate the data in a way so that you're not sharing all of it, but they're
Yeah.
still getting the right mindset around the
Yep.
business from a
Absolutely.
numbers perspective.
That's great. So tell me this, you work with, you said these companies, so you get to see a lot of different businesses.
Yeah.
And what would you say are some of the things that make certain entrepreneurial companies, from your perspective, way more right fit or successful?
That's a good question. I'd say a couple of things. One, they've acknowledged that they are not the best person to do everything, and so they really embrace the who, not how.
Yeah.
And two, they understand their business in a simplified way. Like, we like to call it the critical unit, but how your business makes a product or service in its simplest form. So, for example, if you're like a cabinet maker, it could be not the number of jobs, but the number of cabinets you're making, or the number of square footage of cabinets, so that everyone on the team can understand, are you productive? Are you doing the right work?
Yeah.
Like, you can say,
Yeah.
we made 15 cabinets today, and tomorrow we want to make 16.
Right. So identifying those core metrics.
Yeah.
And then building dashboards around it, and
Yes.
tracking and accountability, all the things.
And spreading it out, not just to your operations team, but that can be useful in the sales department,
Yeah.
so that the sales understanding, how many
That's right.
widgets am I selling?
That's right.
And then on the finance side, looking at your P&L in terms of that critical unit is really
So
helpful.
good. So keying in on the thing you said, the entrepreneurs that you see that are ready to really grow are the ones who say, I can't do it all.
Yeah.
They're honest about their skill sets. They're open to the who, not how concept. They want to partner with right fit collaborators, right? And they see the freedom that's in that. And so they're really partnering with you in a really strong way.
That's exactly.
Okay, now on the flip side, and it may be the exact opposite or it may not, but what are some of the dangers or pitfalls that you see entrepreneurs making, as they navigate, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think, well, from a finance perspective, there's something like a stat around like 80% of businesses that fail because of cash flow.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying attention to your cash,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a dangerous place to be in. You can be out of business.
Absolutely.
So that's, if you're going to look at one thing
Yeah.
from a finance perspective on your
Yeah.
business, you have to pay attention to cash.
Absolutely. So that's the danger, and again, having great transparency, and it mitigates that.
Yeah.
So generally, entrepreneurs, you work with a lot of them.
Do.
What are some of the mindsets you see that are just super vital to them? Forget your personal application of your business for a moment and just look globally.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the key mindsets you see that successful entrepreneurs are, what are they employing that others aren't?
Well, I love that question. Let's see, a willingness to try something new.
Okay, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, like, but being able to see all of the different options at your disposal instead of just going like, ooh, that's a shiny new thing over here, I'm going to do it. Say, all right, let's think critically about that new idea and decide if that's the right way to go.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Tell me this. I'm really curious because I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and I get to coach them, and I'm always curious how much coach thinking, language tools, mindsets, et cetera, are coming down through the organization, right? Because you said you're not in coach. So I'm really curious, and this is putting Colin on the hot seat, even though he's not here, right? Because that's what I do. No, is how much would you say how long's Colin been in coach? Do you know?
I think about 7 years.
I was gonna say, my guess
like
would be
that?
somewhere in there. So coming in, do you feel like, I mean, you mentioned who, not how.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't put that in your mouth. I think you said that. Are there other coach language, coach concepts, coach tools that show up that you're familiar with? What would you say?
Yeah, even before I had heard about strategic coach, things that I had known this concept of was a unique ability.
Yeah.
Big into unique ability.
You were.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I knew that term.
Okay.
But the idea.
I'm curious how you'd come across that. And where? Was it in your education? Was it in previous work?
I think it was most relevant in my understanding of Clifton Strengths.
Okay. So,
like
so you read
those
that
kind of-
book and then
yeah.
you did that and you're like, so yeah, okay.
Those kind of
strengths-based
assessments.
psychology,
Yep.
or like you're going to operate from your strengths. So you've been trying to orchestrate your work life and journey with that lens for a while.
Well, and everyone that works around me too. I want them to be working in their strengths because it's more productive. It's more fun and it's more productive.
It's huge. You know, it's so funny. And when I came to coach, it was the key delineator was, I remember having coaches before I came to coach, and it was like, hey, Chad, need you, your business needs systems. So we need to lock you in a room for 2 days and you create the systems, you know? And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what owners should do is I need systems. And of course I'd lock myself in a room, come out crazy, no system. I'm like, what am I doing? And I come to coach and they're like, you should never even be, you know, with your Colby, with your Strengths Finder, with your print, you should never be doing this. And I'm like, thank you. Like what
a relief.
It was massive.
Yeah.
And all the books I had bought over years of how to be an organized person, a systematic person, or literally programs on how to build flow charts and you know, and I mean, all the stuff. I was able to just eliminate that from my life completely, find one good who, come back, and they were like, yeah, they'll do it.
Because there are people out there like me that would love to spend 2 days thinking about systems.
Come on.
Excellent.
Right? So what a gift. So you had that, and you came to Colin in your company, FinTech, and realized this is a place where unique ability is celebrated, encouraged, talked about freely. Any others? That's good.
The idea of 10x being
easier
than 2x, that is quite an idea.
Is it? What do you think about it?
We think about this on a semi-regular basis at our company because, you know, you get stuck into what's the next incremental best thing.
Yes.
And so every once in a while we have to stop and say 10x is easier than 2x. What would we do differently if we were trying to 10x right now?
I could hug Colin right now. I mean, the fact that you're here speaking this way about this stuff is just so beautiful to me because, I mean, how beautiful is it to have an alignment around the leadership team in an organization to speak in the same language and to be able to have that, right? To be able to stop the truck and say, no, let's think exponentially, right? And to have your team doing that, your leadership thinking that way, what a gift to an organization. I mean, because it's 80% new thinking.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when you ask that question, you put yourself in a different place. So cool.
Yeah, because I, as an operator, naturally think more about the marginal gains. Like, okay, if we tweak this little process here, it's more.
And you know what? Rightly so. But
you need both.
you need both. we say at Coach, you'll never get a 10x if you don't have a great 2x foundation. It's about present company being so fundamentally sound that you can actually explore the new, right? And so you got to have it. But the willingness and ability to be linear growth, seeing linear growth, and then say, but wait, what would this be as a 10x? Pure gold. I bet you've got more. You're a deep well. What else? Anything else?
I know. I'm trying to think of what the other ones were. I know those were the three that
just
really stood out to me.
most.
It's like I instantly understand that.
Yeah, and it's so cool. I like to say this. Dan has this gift of making, like, you could talk. I mean, who not how? It's just like boom. He puts a handle with 3 words on something that you now and I can go and carry it around the world, and it's so sticky. It's so easy to remember. It's so functional. And same thing. 10x easier than 2x. Wait, I got to think about this differently because, right, those are such powerful things. Well, good habits, good mindsets. Tell me this, your first time you said at a coach event.
Yes.
And what do you think so far? You said the people were nice. Any other thoughts or comments?
I really appreciate how willing people are to have conversations, and really like honest conversations. There's not that veil of like, well, I don't know you. You can really get real with people very quickly.
You know what's crazy is, it's so cool that you say that, because I have felt that forever. Coach is one of the most genuine places, and I think it, like anything else, it starts at the top. Dan and Babs, so unpretentious, so real. Practice what they preach. Totally good with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Believe that all projects starts by telling the truth. So let's just deal with it. And I will say that with our clients at Coach, I'm so honored because they come in and they are so transparent. They're so willing to talk about their successes, but also their challenges, and collaborate on solutions, right? And that makes for a magical place for people to grow.
I love how much reflection is a part of every session.
Right? It's not just talk at you.
And then you forget about it immediately
it.
when you walk out the door.
No.
You're writing down what did I take away? What am I still uncertain about? I love that question.
Isn't that good? Isn't that good? That's a tool there. There's another tool called the certainty uncertainty tool, which is just that. And again, Dan has a way. At Coach, one of the greatest gifts is you hear a concept, you do the thinking, and then you talk about it. And it's like all 3 of those really cement something. You go away with actually a change.
Yeah, I was also wondering in a session this morning, or I've noticed that when people ask a question, they'll say first an observation and then a question. Well, I'm like, wow, that's a delightful way to start. I don't know if that's a strategic coach thing,
You know what?
but
I think that's probably just the generosity of the crowd. But
wow.
Yeah, that's rich. Well, hey, it's such a delight to talk with you. I'm excited. First of all, thank you for not only being here, but sponsoring CoachCon to make this magic happen.
It's our pleasure.
Tell Colin, I just think he scored big time in having you on his team. I mean it. And I'm a lot of respect for that man and what you guys are up to. And any final comments as we close out?
No, I've just so enjoyed getting to know people from this community. Like the relationships that you form in this community are so important.
Yeah, it's rich. Well, Rachael, it's a delight. I appreciate your time. And again, hopefully we'll see you at the next CoachCon.
Yeah.
If you don't join the program and jump right in.
Yeah, I'm not a member yet.
Yet. I always like to say yet. All right.
Thanks
Thanks so much.